Hello plant friends. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Darylyn and today we are doing part 3 of my summer 2021 plant haul series, Miscellaneous. So as I kind of went over before, I did buy a lot of plants this summer between lots of really good deals and also kind of trying to stock up for the plant shop I'm eventually planning on opening. I needed to acquire quite a bit of inventory. Now, I had a lot of philodendron and anthurium, so I did those separately. Today is kind of the odds and ends. I have some prayer plants, it looks like. I have a Monstera, I have some Syngonium, some Hoya, and a couple other things. So that means we have a lot to cover today and I don't want to waste any time. Therefore, let's get into it. But before we jump straight into the plant haul, please do me a solid and give this video a like, maybe even subscribe. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Additionally, don't be shy. Join the conversation in the comments below. I would love to chat with you. Okay, as promised, jumping right into it. Full disclosure, I have featured this plant on my channel before, but hopefully you guys will forgive me. The first plant I have to show you today is this adorable little Calathea Dottie. Now, I got this plant a couple of weeks ago at a local plant shop in San Diego, and I just think it's so cute. It's so dark. I think I'd call that magenta on the leaves is just really striking. I would say of the Calathea that look like this and have the really big round leaves, this is probably a rarer one. You do see them pop up in plant shops every once in a while, like clearly I did. But other than that, I've never really seen this plant for sale. The care is exactly the same as your regular old Calathea medallion. So if you are a prayer plant fan or a plant goth, maybe check out the Calathea Dottie. So the second plant I have to show you, we are jumping all the way to the Epipremnum family, which I have for you today. This beautiful variegated Epipremnum Pinnatum. Now, this plant is really cool because as it grows and it's allowed to climb, it will eventually fenestrate, just like this variegated Monstera behind me. And for a while, people were kind of talking about the Epipremnum Pinnatum Variegata as like, oh, a possible cheaper alternative to the Albo Monstera, but that kind of never really came to fruition. These plants start out a lot smaller, and I would say they're a lot more difficult to size up than the variegated Monstera. I don't really think that they've ever really been cheaper than an Albo Monstera. I think at one point there were people trying to sell, you know, 1 or 2 leaf cuttings of these variegated Epipremnum for like $200. And, you know, of course the leaves were way smaller than a $200 one leaf cutting of an Albo. So it was a nice idea in theory, but the plant was just really never cheap enough to replace the actual true variegated Monstera. But they are a really fun plant if you are looking for a project, if you're looking for something that you can try and attempt to size up and transform. This specimen is a little bit lower on the variegation side. It hadn't been getting the best light, so I'm really hoping that I can get some more out of it hanging out on a shelf with better light, but it's a great plant. It's definitely easier to take care of than a variegated Monstera. So if you have a lot of patience and you're looking for a project, the variegated Epipremnum Pinnatum might be a good choice for you. These are related to the Cebu Blue, actually. They're very, very similar. So if you like the Cebu Blue and you're looking for something similar that's going to be just as easy to take care of, but also has some fun variegation, variegated Epipremnum Pinnatum might be a good one. Also, when they do mature to the point where they're fenestrated, they do kind of look a bit longer than the variegated Monstera. They're kind of like the wiener dog of the variegated Monstera world. So very, very cool plant. Definitely not something you see all the time as far as mature fenestrated variegated Epipremnum Pinnatum. Very interesting, very beautiful plant. So next we have a little bit of a mystery. This my friend sent to me as an extra in an order of plants that I got from her, and she told me the name of it, but I honest to God forgot. I will put it on the screen after I message her and ask her to confirm what it's supposed to be, but it is a very, very cute Hoya with lots and lots spilling pond. But it is a very, very cute Hoya with really nice veins. So far, it's been really, really easy. Unfortunately, she did send me a couple of other Hoya and they ended up rotting in the grow tent, which was tragic because one of them was a variegated Wiganiae and I really, really, really wanted that Hoya, but I'm sure I'll get an opportunity to get another one. I like these because I wouldn't say the leaf is velvety, but it's very, very matte to the point where it almost feels like it maybe could be bordering on suede. So very, very cool Hoya. Very excited for it to grow. It looks like it might be able to sun stress, which would be really exciting. So it's been in the window. Hopefully once it's ready to put out some new growth, maybe we'll see some sun stress. I don't know. I'll have to research it more, but very cute. Super nice of her to send this to me. And it's a very, very adorable little Hoya. It's fun to mix things up sometimes on this channel. You know, we do a lot of philodendron, a lot of anthurium here, you know. Sometimes mixed up. Get a little Hoya, get a little prayer plant. Speaking of mixing it up, the next plant that I have for you today is a cactus. A cactus? This is for sure the first time that a cactus has ever been featured on this channel, but here we are. This is a very, very cute variegated cactus. I believe it is a type of prickly pear. You guys, I legit paid $3 for this. I was super excited. I actually thought it was gonna be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. It's very cool. The variegation is like, I just think it's really interesting. So this is just kind of proof that you don't have to have super expensive plants to have variegation. You don't have to have super expensive plants to have cool plants, and you don't have to have super expensive plants to enjoy your plants. So I really like that it has this like really kind of like minty color and then the more jade color on it. It's really cool. So that is my adorable little $3 variegated prickly pear. And hopefully it'll grow big and strong and someday it can hang out on the porch with Kevin, my other cactus. That's probably the best deal that I got over the summer was the $3 variegated prickly pear. Really quickly, because I have featured this plant on the channel before, this is my very, very big, beautiful, and bushy Maranta Leuconeura silver band. I picked this up because I had been wanting a Maranta for a really long time, but the colors on kind of the most common variety of Maranta just kind of didn't really do it for me. This I like a lot more. The leaves fade down to this really beautiful dark green, and then it has the silver in the middle. Just a little bit more my vibe, I would say, than like the lemon lime or the red Maranta. So the one thing about these that I've found is that they're extremely thirsty. Like they will start to dry out within a couple days of being watered, and as soon as they do, you start to get little crispy tips and little yellowing on them. So if you are thinking about Maranta, perhaps consider self-watering. I am absolutely gonna put this into self-watering. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I have the pots, I just haven't gotten to it yet. Maybe I'll do that in a vlog or something so that I'm forced to do it. But really beautiful plant, probably one of my favorite Maranta. I am still on the hunt for the ever coveted black Maranta, but as of yet, I do not have that one. Maranta silver band is gorgeous. Highly, highly recommend if you can get your hands on one, because I mean, I've just been nothing but, you know, pleasantly surprised by this one. All right, moving swiftly on. Here we have the debut on this channel of a Syngonium. What? Yeah, I know we're getting really crazy today, you guys, with all these like Hoya and cactus and crazy stuff that we don't normally do here. But you know what? We can be spontaneous here too. It doesn't have to always be philodendron and anthurium. This is a very, very cute Syngonium Rayii with a very, very long runner, and I think it's trying to tell me that it wants to climb somewhere and it's not getting enough light, so I do apologize, adorable little Rayii. These are really, really cool. They're very similar to the Syngonium Winlandii, that they have this white stripe of variegation running down the center of their leaf. The white stripe, unfortunately, does fade out as they mature. So if you like the Syngonium Rayii look with the long white strip down the middle, you're probably going to have to continue to cut it back to encourage juvenile growth to appear. Very, very cute. They're so velvety. So soft. They're so soft. And the Rayii velvet, I feel like it's really dark, like it almost like drinks the light. When I got it, it was just an unrooted cutting, and it's rooting really well up in the pond, so should be good to go eventually. But yeah, so far it's been a really good little plant, and it's super adorable. And yeah, congratulations, little Syngonium, on being the first Syngonium ever featured here. All right, well, continuing on our Syngonium kick, I have for you this adorable little Syngonium Rayii Pink Splash. Now, these are tough. And I am not the only person to say that on YouTube, but I can tell you that these are incredibly tough. This plant is the only survivor from an order of plants, like 40 plants, that I put in from Indonesia earlier in the year. It arrived, I think, in July, and every single plant in that order was rotted to mush, except this one. As you can see, this plant is fully alive, clearly alive, and it did lose a couple leaves in the import order, but this leaf was in the import order. It never did really unfurl, but the plant is okay. It had 0 roots, but it did root up just fine in pond. So if you are looking for a very, very tough plant that will be really difficult to overwater, that's gonna ship to you really well, and then, you know, bounce back quickly and grow and has some beautiful pink variegation, this is a really good choice to go for. It also, as it matures a little bit, gets these really cool ears. So yeah, it's a very interesting plant, and it's definitely gonna run you a lot less than some of the other really bougie variegated plants. So it's a good one, I highly recommend. I think I see these go for like high double digits for a small one, and you know, a little more than that if you want like a bigger plant. But yeah, Syngonium Rayii Pink Splash. All right, we are cruising. This is going so fast. It really helps when I don't have like a dissertation of background information for every single plant. I did, bitch. Oh my God. I just dumped this variegated cactus's soil all over my bed. Oh my God. Don't tell James. It's okay, I'll vacuum it up in a minute. I'm gonna put this back on the shelf so that there's no risk of it falling over again. Oh, wow. It's just been one of those kind of days, huh, guys? Alrighty, well, this is an adorable little orchid that has just the most beautiful foliar markings on it. Some of you may not know this, but way, way, way back before I got into aeroids, like 10 years ago, I first started my plant journey with a whole bunch of orchids, and I did eventually liquidate that collection when I had to move somewhere that wasn't gonna have good light for them, and just it wasn't gonna be a good setup to have orchids. But I think I probably had close to 30 orchids at one point. So when I moved a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2015, I actually went from having like 35 plants to having 0 plants. And it was the first time I had 0 plants in a really long time. And then, you know, eventually I ended up accumulating a whole bunch of plants on my desk at work. And so I had a couple of orchids and some bamboo and some succulents on my desk at work that people had given me. I quickly ended up becoming like the designated office orchid rehabber. So that was interesting, but I hadn't had any orchids in my personal collection since 2015 when I liquidated all of my orchids. But I saw this on a Facebook group locally, and I love the beautiful foliage orchids. I believe the blooms on this just come out white. It hasn't bloomed for me yet, and it probably won't for a considerable amount of time because when I got it, it had absolutely 0 roots. They were all completely trashed. So, oh yeah, it just popped out, see? That's all it has. Fortunately, we have the grow tent to help us out with the rerooting process, but yeah, it's not the best situation. But it is growing, so I think it'll be fine. So this was sold to me as a jewel orchid. I am not an expert on jewel orchids, but last time I checked, I don't think that's what this is. I don't know what it's called. I'll try to find the name, but I love these orchids that have the spotty foliage. It just looks so prehistoric and so interesting, and I was really, really glad that I was able to pick it up. Now, let's hope that it'll reroot, because I would be really sad if this little guy didn't make it, but I've had it a couple of months now, and I think if it was gonna go downhill, it would have, and I don't think think that it would be growing if it was in like dire straits. So very, very cute little orchid. Super excited to have it. And I would love to get more of these. I just like haven't gotten to it yet. And I have so many other plant things going on that it's like not super high on the list, but eventually I will get some more of these and I'll have an adorable little orchid setup. So super excited about this little guy, and yeah. All right, so there's really no point in me trying to hold this off screen and like bring it up as a surprise because this thing is huge. But this is an Alocasia Frydek and it is gigantic. Well, full disclosure, I did already show this on my channel a couple of videos ago, but I had to show it again because first of all of the foliage kind of like rearranged itself to point towards one direction, towards the window where it lives. And so it just looks so striking with like all 5 of these leaves, like just like perfect coming at you. This leaf is also brand new. And it is absolutely perfect. Like the most beautiful leaf. I had wanted an Alocasia Frydek for such a long time, but I was just pretty convinced that I would kill it. I had an Alocasia poly as my first Alocasia and it wasn't doing great, but like I don't think I was particularly incentivized to help it thrive. Like I was just like, this is the spot where you're living, and it was an absolutely horrible spot for an Alocasia, to be honest. Like very dark. I always forgot to water it. It was in terrible soil. It was just not thriving. So I sold it to someone and she is loving it and the plant has grown a ton with her. It clearly went to the right person. This one, on the other hand, is mine. I wanted this plant forever. I'm so glad I finally took the plunge. And I'm also glad I waited until the price on them came down because I think for a while they were a lot more expensive. I got this plant from Logi's for $20 and it didn't have this leaf, but I mean, I think $20 for that is still like very good deal. And it's given me absolutely nothing but love. This leaf came out since I got it a few weeks ago. It's putting out this leaf right here, so I'll have another one. And then it's also putting out a pup. Like, I don't think I've ever had a plant come in and thrive this much under my care. So very excited about this plant. Absolutely love it. My dream is to have like big giant alocasias. I've talked about my Alocasia zebrina on here before, and it's just like the Frydek is so beautiful. It's got that bougie gloriosum kind of look to it at a fraction of the price. We'll probably pick up another one if I had the chance, but I had to share it and make sure that everybody got to see that I did get this a couple weeks ago. It's just incredible and I am in love with it. One more close up. Okay, last but not least, obviously I couldn't leave this one out, even though once again I have shown it on the channel before. This is probably one of the coolest things that I've hauled this summer. This is a Monstera Adansonii mint, and there's been a little bit of contention over what kind of Adansonii mint it is. Although some people think it's probably the Indonesian variety. I don't really know. Yeah, maybe, probably, I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. It's gorgeous nonetheless. It has really, really pretty variegation, a lot of variegation. And one of the cool things about the mint Adansonii is that the variegation is stable, as opposed to the white Adansonii. The variegation is not stable. So very, very cool, very, very beautiful plant. It's very big. I'm trying to grow it as big as possible, but there will definitely be some cuttings available of this eventually as well. Really, really fun plant, and probably my favorite thing I hauled over the summer. I don't know though, it's kind of hard to like pick a favorite because everything is so good. I don't know. I feel like the Frydek is probably up there too, but I just feel like choosing that because it was such a cheap price is like, I'm not allowed to choose it, but maybe I should just say like, fuck it and choose it, because I do really, really love the Frydek, but this is probably the one that I'm most proud of and I'm enjoying it a lot. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful variegated Adansonii. Tons of half moons, which are always fun. Bitches love half moons, y'all. Bitches love half moons. All right, everybody, that is gonna be it for today. Don't forget to leave a comment and tell me your favorite plant that I hauled this summer was, or what your favorite plant that you hauled this summer was. Thank you so much for chilling with me, especially if you've chilled with me for all 3 of these plant haul videos. I really appreciate everybody watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!